Hi guys, my name is Keith Neurotis, known as the leader and superior of Club LASM, aka Lover of anime shows and movies, and I'm here with Colleen, Gilbert,
Hello there.
and of course Colby.
We should throw a freaking beach party. Good boy.
So first things first, how are we doing this lovely Saturday afternoon? After what happened yesterday?
Let's just say that I haven't been this excited in an episode since Gravity Falls season 1 finale. I've been reeling for the past 20-ish hours.
And thank goodness I just came back from Orlando just to watch the second to last episode, because my goodness, I did not think Alex Roshan, is that how you pronounce his last name? All I know, the guy who voiced King did an S-tier job.
Absolutely, he crushed it. But what I love about Alex is that he really seems to love his character so much that he's willing to voice a lot of things for him, including his inspiration, Am from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Yeah. I love when voice actors so clearly, enjoy playing their characters, or, just regular actors, or, if anybody enjoys playing their character, then that makes it so much more immersive. When they're having fun, we're having fun.
I'm excited but more nervous about the finale, because haven't I heard from, I think, Vixen, that the table read for the 9th episode was, a tearjerker, I think?
Yeah, from what we saw, from the cast members, that one's gonna be an emotional one, and I am fully prepared to be a wreck.
Oh.
You can only prepare to be a wreck, but you can't prepare for the outcome. I can't prepare for the content, no, but I can prepare for the emotional outcome. At least, in my head.
Oh my god, so much I want to address, but I really honestly just cannot wait for next week to basically dissect everything that happened on that episode. Especially,
yeah, we gotta save that for next week, because we got another thing to talk about today. Yep.
Yeah, especially with the ending, my god. Huh.
That is gonna be an episode, dude.
I know. Before we get to the topic, I need to talk about last week, which is the Academy, which literally happened, and shocking enough, one battle after another won over Sinners.
I actually didn't really watch the Oscars. I'm not that crazy about the Oscars. It's the same. It's mainly because I haven't been able to watch that much movies recently. The last one I saw was Iron Lung, that Markiplier movie. Yeah, it was really good. Markiplier and Amy actually went to the Oscars. He got lost because the carpet everywhere is red, and he didn't know where to go.
I mean, this was his first time going, so...
Okay. Oscars at 26. I think the Oscar is just not that, maybe because I work too much, or maybe Honest Trailer just ripped them when I saw one of the videos. It's here's a movie that the Oscar has, and here's the movies you've actually seen. Shows a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah.
Oh my god.
How many, maybe, I can't even name the nominees, because the only ones that I know is Sinners, and that's because, that thing has been breaking records in more ways than once. Every time you can, I could be wrong, and please, if people have more information, point it out to me, but how much can you say about these other movies?
Well, thank goodness we know that K-Pop Demon Hunters won animated feature.
Yeah, that's He also won some kind of award for the soundtrack.
And then in the middle of their acceptance speech, they were immediately cut off.
That's what pissed me off so much about that. They really won for original score, and the nerve to them to cut them off while they were getting. Oh my god.
They made some BS excuse like, oh, we're trying to look for a solution. We're trying to figure out what to do. Let people finish their speeches. There you go. Gave you a solution. Shouldn't have fucking happened.
And I guess that's another thing. It's hard for me to like care much about the Oscar when it really clearly sounds like they don't care.
No, they don't. They don't care.
In fact, I did hear Will Arnett, the voice of Lego Batman, BoJack Horseman, and Slade. He actually showed a lot more respect for animation that night, from what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
And I quote, "We celebrate animation, not AI or something." Forgot.
Yes.
Yeah. To hear that from Will Arnett, thank goodness. We need this.
We do.
People, not AI. That's the one.
As I said, we should finally get to today's topic, which is the autistic acceptance. Since you and I both know, we do autism acceptance month on a yearly basis at this point, which my favorite things. Exactly.
Well, it's March Independence, but yes.
Last year we discussed about Hollywood and the way they portrayed autism in a negative way, whether if it's infantilizing them, making them absolute super geniuses for the plot, and even said autistic character not being the main focus in the story and only serve as a walking object to the neurotypical protagonist conflict, and so on. And it's just leaving me wondering, over the past year or maybe past couple of months before the year started, due to this massive increase of independent animation, could this specific type of independent media be our only good graces of actually having autism representation being presented in a positive way?
I would say it's kind of mixed, and it all depends on who's writing it, who's behind it, and how much people care. Like Hamish Steele, the creator of Dead End, Paranormal Park, or Dead End, if you read the comics, he created Norma Khan, who is officially autistic. And personally, I see a lot myself in her, not remembering people's names or faces, but more interested in some topic they're just obsessive with, like the theme park and the singer. There was another time when Hamish was part of this other show, and it seems like they were going to portray autistic people in a negative light, and Hamish was like, hey, could we do this or something, because this doesn't feel right. And the people behind the show, or at least the producers, they did not care for his input.
Wow. I did not know that happened. Wow.
He said that in one of his Blue Sky posts. So, yes, so there is a chance where animation can be a better representation, at least when it comes to autistic people, than live action. But at the same time, it very depends on the people behind the show. Yeah. Now that said, there are some times where maybe we don't exactly need confirmation that these characters are autistic. It's the audience who will know, or at least feel represented when they look at these characters. For example, Donatello from Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, he's super smart, but he's also very sensitive and unintentionally sounds sarcastic. And when they were asked if he was autistic, they were like, yeah, maybe. I'm not sure outright confirming it, but the point is, if the audience sees them as autistic, then that's what he is, at least to them. And I think that's also important for people. They don't need to outright say it, it's show it. It's one of those show don't tell. I think it's kind of like with Manny Rivera from El Tigre, when the creator, Jorge Gutierrez, he says that later Manny is autistic because he is autistic as he was writing him. He wasn't diagnosed until like a while later. I guess when he looks back at it, they're like, yeah, Manny could be autistic.
Yeah. I think that was the sentiment Tom Kenny had when somebody asked if, like, SpongeBob SquarePants of all characters was autistic. And Tom Kenny, like, kind of thought about that question, and he was like, yeah, you know what, I can see that. Because SpongeBob is, like, he has his own interests in, like, fry cooking, and he's really dedicated to what he does and what he's interested in. And he really, like, is the kind of person who wears his heart on his sleeve. Like, he's really sensitive, he's really, like, thoughtful of other people's emotions. He feels empathetic towards people. So, like, looking at it, yeah, I can kind of see that.
And it should also be noted that autistic people is not just one specific thing. It's a spectrum. Not every autistic people is going to be the same thing.
It's called an autistic spectrum for a reason.
Yes, it's a spectrum. It goes to a variety of ways. And I guess, again, it depends on the audience. They look at them and they think, yeah. Like, I believe, I have not personally seen the video myself, but the YouTuber named
Noah Otter.
Yeah, Noah Otter. He actually made a video about how these characters who are autistic coded, or at the very least, that's what the audience sees them as. Doesn't they feel so much for them, they empathize with them.
And from last year's video with Hollywood being a problem, he's the reason the video existed.
The reason you feel like there's so many people who are actively writing autistic or neurodivergent characters into indie animation shows specifically, because a lot of indie animation is people like making the kind of stuff that they would want to see and making the kind of characters they would have wanted to like grow up watching in animation or would just like to see represented in a way that people can relate to.
And that is what makes indie animation so great. And yes, it is a difficult task. And it very much depends on the time, place, and of course money. But if you manage to do so, you're able to make anything you want, like Digital Circus. Another prime example, because we got a non-binary character having more role in the show. They even refer to Zooble as they, them.
They're still kind of they're a gender funky little guy.
And then there's also Planky from Knights of Guinevere, who might have schizophrenia, or at least that's been theorized she may have schizophrenia. Now that is not a bad thing. She just has some hallucinations. I see those cute little animals. And
especially when she was seeing Guinevere like in her like normal princess self instead of what the real Guinevere that we the audience were seeing throughout the course of the pilot.
Yeah, it's kind of presented as a thing that she happens to have, not necessarily like a hindrance or anything. It's just there.
It's like now I like Batman, okay? But they also have some people with very like what's you call it? Very the high bad end of these disorders, like multiple personality disorder or schizophrenia, and they were like full-blown villains. Not all the villains, in fact. There was an actual psychiatrist who talked about the Batman villains, how most of them should be in Blackgate, not Arkham Asylum.
Oh my god.
What is Blackgate? Is it a wild question what Blackgate is?
Blackgate Prison is essentially like Rikers Island in New York.
Okay.
A big maximum prison for people like Bane, for example, a big guy, or Deathstroke, or Slade, if that's what you know him as, and Deadshot.
I see. Okay.
And I guess that's the way they were portrayed, or how they're viewed by people, make them think like people with these kind of, this are going to be bad. In fact, I think, or at least I believe with Black Manta, he was autistic, and then they tried to cure that autism, and then he went full-blown insane. Or at least in...
which Batman was it, though?
One universe.
Yeah. I will say I'm very much a horror fan, but there is kind of a trend in certain kinds of horror movies, and even in like ghost stories where like mental illness is kind of like played as a negative thing, like, ooh, mentally unwell person is scary, and I don't really like that.
It's like just straight up egoism.
And I guess that's another thing. That's another thing where, just like I said, Batman was like an example of how most of them should be in Blackgate, not Arkham. And Arkham is still a pretty bad place. They need like real professional help.
Yes, that's more framed as a prison than an asylum.
Yeah, that's always a bad thing about Gotham, isn't it? Even if you genuinely think people like Two-Face needs help, bad chance. And Dark Knight Returns, all they gave him is plastic surgery, and they think he's cured.
Jeez Louise, my dude! That is so...
He tried to blow up a building and tried to blow up his minions.
That's crazy.
I don't know a lot of Batman. I do know, like, I'm very familiar with, like, the Telltale games of Batman, and Two-Face was a pretty prominent antagonist in the first game specifically. So we got to see a lot of how corrupt he was and how he essentially treated the entire city, basically, as, like, martial law, basically, for lack of a term that I actually know how to use, but that's the closest thing I can name to it. He was fully a dictator instead of a mayor.
That leads me into my OCs at this point, because I really thought, oh, wait a second.
Yeah, we got really off topic.
Don't worry. Don't you worry about that. Because now it leads us literally to our OCs at this point, because I really thought to myself, oh, wait a second. What's the point of me trying to figure this out myself if I can assist of the help of the original characters that I made that are autistic? And let's hope if we can find at least some decent answers to them of whether independent animation can actually be our good graces. We're actually representing autism in a good way, you know?
Yeah.
Like, for instance, we really got our OCs together and it's like, what would their dynamics would be if they're all together?
Yeah, maybe you guys could like talk a little bit about your characters so we can like get a better idea of what they'd be like as a group.
I'm afraid, full confession, I don't have a lot of, original characters per se. All I have is my persona. I believe I showed you guys, what I look like in the art form, or at least the idea of it. And, thank you, AZ Girl, for drawing my little avatar there. As for the other OCs I got, they're mainly adoptables that I have gotten over the past year.
Oh, nice.
So not much I can say on them. I mean, I'm just using these OCs for fun, not very much of huge storyline ideas. There's like hey, I want to have some fun art, and pay some artists to make them. So that's special about them, to be honest, or at least not at this time.
Well, with my first two OCs, we have Belle Apollo and Remy Hart. Belle Apollo is more of the shy-ish type, if I could just describing her character in arc in a nutshell. Remy Hart is more like the leader-ish type of character in a nutshell.
So you got an autistic character with a spotlight on her.
More like two of them. Well, one is a more observer, just like more shyer-ish, but still takes the reins when she needs to. And then the other is more, it's like, don't think, just go, being the ringleader. They are.
That's cool. So I have 3 that I know for sure I want to be autistic. 2 of them are my Moorwood Hollow characters, Andy and Naomi. They're both relatively quiet and kind of reserved, but Andy is a lot more direct, and she usually prefers to have a very well thought out plan before she can like dive into something. She likes routine, she likes order. She generally is kind of a tough nut to crack, but she has a very like soft and sensitive side underneath once you like kind of get to know her a little more. And then Naomi, I recently figured out was like could kind of be coded as autistic. Like And this was as I was doing some writing recently, and I was like figuring out what Naomi's character was, and I was like, I actually kind of relate to Naomi in like my own sense of autism. Like, she's a very quiet person as well, but she's very like empathetic and she's very creative. She gets very, very excited when engaging in things she's like particularly interested in and like learning new things. And she, like, when she likes a thing, she can't be normal about it. She has to
Clearly.
be surrounded by things she likes 100% of the time. And I was like, I was writing all this out and I was realizing, oh, she's one of us now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then I have one character who's like not really for anything. She's just for fun. Her name is Iris. She's kind of like a humanoid creature with an eyeball for a head, and she researches humanity. And her role is basically shared with one of her, or like her best friend Winston, where they kind of catalog events about humanity and everything like that. And she's a very curious soul. She's very outlandish and outgoing, and she loves learning about new things. Her special interest is bugs, especially bugs with like colorful wings and who live in colonies and stuff like that. She's mostly for fun more than anything else, but yeah, those are my autistic characters that I have like more or less set in stone right now.
I personally believe that the dynamic between Remy and Andy would be more interesting because though they're both artistic, there are absolute opposites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you said with Andy, she thinks, but with Remy, she does, and they both may have different ideals of what to do in like situations.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's kind of her dynamic with like my main character Carlos, who I'm debating on whether or not I want to be autistic, honestly. I kind of want him to be autistic just because I can. But I'm still figuring out the specifics of that. But yeah, I can see that. That'd be a pretty cool dynamic. I love dynamics like that.
Like, including my favorite trope when it comes to opposites.
Yes.
Which I'm starting to like more.
Yeah, I'm very much a fan of opposites attract, whether the relationships are platonic, familial, romantic, or otherwise.
Well, I got like 3 characters that are on the spectrum. One of them is, well, you're not going to believe this. One of the names is also Naomi. Believe it or not.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You and Naomi also share a birthday.
Yeah. Naomi is always so happy and optimistic all the time. She's always looking on the bright side of things and always happy. She's always by the side of her best friend Tori, who's also autistic. Sometimes she doesn't like being alone and away from Tori for too long. Like say if she goes on a vacation for a week or so.
That's her comfort.
Miss her so badly that she'll constantly call her to the point of almost irritating her.
Aww.
In other words, she is a very clingy person. Tori, she's autistic in a different way. She's very sensitive to being yelled at, especially by her brother, big brother Shane.
Yeah.
So relatable.
Oh, I feel like I kind of relate to Tori in that way.
Me too. Hate being yelled at.
Yeah.
Being yelled at doesn't make me cry, but I don't like being yelled at either.
Yeah. It does make me cry sometimes. It makes me, like, emotional for sure. And then sometimes I cry.
Well, whenever was there like a specific thing I would be yelled at, I would most likely dwell. I don't usually cry, most likely dwell on it as if it's going to linger in my head for an entire day. It's just like interrupts my day. I hate it when that happens to me.
Yeah, it might be a combination of like both autism and OCD for me, but I kind of like ruminate about that. Like it genuinely really upsets me, and unfortunately I kind of tend to zero in on it, and it makes me feel even worse.
Yeah, some things just get stuck in my head. It's just so long while. All I just want to do is go home and forget about it.
Naomi has ADHD. Sometimes has a hard time focusing on certain things. Like these.
Good old-fashioned ADHD.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't have ADHD, but I sure as hell can. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So what do you think the dynamic will be like between our characters and yours? Really?
I think Naomi will quickly be friends with anyone. Perhaps. I mean, not perhaps. Because she is a very wealthy. She's a very armed and always there to hug someone.
Aww. Yeah, I like to think the two Naomis would be friends. Like they could kind of feed off of each other's energy a little bit.
Well, honestly, to me, I feel like it will take Belle a little more time. When it comes to new friends being added into the friendship group, it would take more time to basically adjust. And within weeks go by, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're my friends now. Like, you just give Belle more time. It's like Remy, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like Naomi might be relatively open to like meeting new people just because of how her story turns out. But Andy is a little like harder to warm up to just because of like some trauma that happened in her past with like not being treated well by quote unquote friends. So it takes a bit for her to like adjust to new people in the group, including Naomi when she enters the group. But like once you do warm up to them, like you have a friend for life.
I feel like when it comes to dynamics, the most likely trying to be friends with Naomi, you have to basically earn Naomi's trust to basically be her friend. I mean, Andy. Damn. Why did I say Naomi?
Andy, yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
You're good.
Yeah. Basically earn Andy's trust to actually be her friend.
And she like takes trust very seriously. Whereas Naomi like wants to make friends more easily, but she gets pretty shy.
Especially when it comes to friendship groups with both sharing the same name, it's going to be so confusing. With most likely either Belle or Remy, it'll be confusing. If they have a friendship squad that just expands, and they have one of them has a similar name to the other, it was like, huh?
Yeah, mine is to call them by like their last initials. Like, Colby, does your Naomi have a last name?
Naomi Waters. Just
Naomi Waters. Okay, my Naomi is Yamada, so we got Naomi Y and Naomi W?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let's try that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's work.
Yeah, I think it would most likely be easier for Remy to basically just nickname them, so that way they'll get to know them more and more and more. I know Bella will most likely could easily get along with either Naomi or Iris, one of those two, because what they both have in common is about being hyperfixated towards something. With Belle being more the observer, she would know something that the others couldn't, which will be most likely work well with the group.
Yeah, and Iris is also very like observant, considering like her head is an eye, and she. Like I said, she's a researcher of humanity, so I feel like she'd actively want to learn about, like, basically everybody in the entire group and learn about their own perspectives on, like, going through life as an autistic person.
Imagine trying being Iris on a staring contest. Is like, she's gonna be hard to beat.
Iris would win every time.
God.
She's just an eyeball. She doesn't really have a need to blink. She doesn't even have eyelids.
Oh, God.
How does Iris even go in the water without even blinking, without even closing her eyes? Like, how is she gonna survive through that water?
I didn't think about that.
But it's good.
I think maybe she just, like, can't swim.
Maybe with our OCs together, it really shows perhaps indie animation actually be our good graces if we actually write them in a very good way, make them more relatable to the audience that are maybe also artistic as well.
I sure hope so. And because there's actual people like behind that writing, it'll be hopefully easier for other people to see themselves in those characters and relate to them. Funny thing about humanity, we have a lot of similar experiences to each other.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Well, before I go, I have to let you know, Colleen and Gibert didn't notice because I already told Coda this, but I finally just got accepted to USF. Finally.
Oh, that's
Yes, I'm finally going back to school, and I'm going to do it over the summer.
that's incredible! Congratulations, man!
I know! I never felt so happy, like, for real.
Yeah, that's awesome!
Like I said with Coda, when it comes to me finally being accepted to USF, it most likely might have an effect when it comes to doing sessions, but we don't know what will happen in the future when it comes to coming together and doing these recording sessions together. But hopefully it doesn't affect as much, because like when I started doing podcasts, I was literally in HCC, like literally multitasking everything. Yeah,
we'll have to take it like day by day for sure, but hopefully we'll be able to still like work everything out.
exactly. Like, but anyway, I'm still never felt so happy to go back to basically just get out of the house to do something. Seriously.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, with that said, thank you guys for being today's awesome podcast, and be prepared for Juneteenth, and be prepared for next week, because we have so much to talk about.
Yeah, that's gonna be a whole week to like just deal on everything.
Like, I already got my recap script ready to go. Like,
take a
immediately
whole
just
cruise trip taking to process that.
with that said, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Click on the notification bell so that way you won't miss out on any more of the animation content with me and my friends. With that said, I bid you peace. Bye!
Bye!
Haha. Alright.
See ya.